and Digital Technologies Minister Mondli Gungubele has assured SASSA recipients that the vacuum in the Postbank board will not affect their payments. Now, the minister says the board should be appointed in about 2 months. Postbank, which is responsible for the over 30% of the grant recipients, is without a board after members resigned. Now, for more on the story, I'm joined by Communications Minister Mondli Gungubele. Minister Gungubele, very good afternoon to you. Thank you so much for speaking to us. Let's start right at the beginning, where you told a media briefing on Thursday. Afternoon, thank you. You told a media briefing on Thursday that the reasons behind the payment challenges were misrepresented. What then is the correct version of events, Minister?
The correct version is that it was a technical glitch. As we were upgrading, as we were moving from the previous system to the new one, at the same time upgrading. So in the process of doing that, that's when the technical glitch emerged. None of these issues that are being raised. For instance, people say the bank cards, which are not working, and so on.
So this Postbank migration, the new payments system that you speak of here, was it stress tested before being rolled out? Was your team satisfied that it was indeed ready to implement it? And so, if so, why did you land up with so many problems?
I'm advised, ma'am, that it was stress tested. Remember, Postbank, through that system, serves no less than 5.2 million people. The problem we had was 600,000 who had corrected 500,000 within a day. So, in other words, in that 5.2 million, that's the 600,000 which was resolved in a day. The point I'm trying to make is that if it was not stress tested, it would not have handled the other 4-point-something million.
Yeah, but the outcome was detrimental. I mean, we saw the impacts that it had on the elderly community.
I appreciate. I agree with you, ma'am, that there were negative consequences, which we have handled, and in a short space of time. That's why we keep on apologizing to those who are disadvantaged by the development.
You've made promises that your department and government will be taking the correct steps to prevent such future challenges to do with the grant payments. What are some of those steps?
Of course, it's to ensure that the system is sustainably stable. A lot of work is being done to make sure that we are actually not confronted with the same situation in the next cycle. So that involves IT people analyzing, making sure that all the weaknesses eliminating all the risks and mitigating them in the IT space.
As you try and ensure those steps, I mean, the problem that has resulted in this major challenge, what sort of steps have been taken against the people who are at the center of these challenges? Has anyone been fired?
Well, there's a lot of problems. No. On the technical glitch,
yes,
it is the company that is assisting us to actually, that payment system belongs to a particular company, and the technical glitch to us is not a basis for us to change the nature of the technical glitch is not a basis for us to actually change to end our relationship abruptly with those people. We are working with them in the interim, hoping to find a more stabilized way of dealing with the situation. So when you say have people been the consequence management,
yes,
the only people you could think about are the people who are implementing the system. So I'm saying this glitch, technical glitches do happen in the IT system, and you always pray that they do not happen, especially with the kind of effect they had to our people. So, as I'm saying to you, no less than 4 million people were served. We were hit that 600,000 were affected. So we have not reached a point where we say this system is not an appropriate one. We are working on making sure that we keep on checking if it works in the manner it is now. Up until today, we don't have what to call problems of the 5th and the 6th.
If you say you want to continue relations, Minister, with this particular company and that it's a technical glitch, were you made aware beforehand that this was going to happen? And, you know, because a lot of the argument revolves around how you could have perhaps preempted that something like this would happen and then ensured that there was sufficient communication to alert the beneficiaries that come payday, you're going to find 00 in your account.
Ma'am, a technical glitch is a spontaneous mishap in the system. You can't be able to warn anyone about it. That's why we're calling it a technical glitch. It's something when you are running the system, something out of your control occurs. You would not be warning people about it. You don't even pay people in that system if you knew it was going to be like that. But what is key, immediately when it emerged, interventions turn the system around within 1.5 days.
Are there any measures that you believe that the company that you're working with will put in place to ensure that this doesn't happen again? Because you say you're happy to continue working with them. And then, I mean, you know, just measuring the impact that this had on the department and the beneficiaries themselves, are you willing to take that risk?
Which risk, ma'am?
The risk of working with the same company that resulted in this massive embarrassment.
We are going to continue to watch the company, but as I speak with you now, the company is doing a good job in the system.
You are accusing others of using this entire debacle. I mean, you keep insisting that you'll work with the same company and that you're fine to do so. You are accusing others of using this debacle as cheap politicking. However, are they wrong to point out that the impact that this had on the most vulnerable in society, Minister Gungubele? We heard stories of elders having to borrow money to feed their families. Surely this should bring some level of shame and embarrassment. And it's quite disheartening to hear that you will continue with the same company that landed you in this mess.
I mean, ma'am, if life was run in the manner you are saying, we would have to do away with life because life has got imperfections. So what is important? How does imperfection last, and to what extent? Is it an imperfection that can be resolved? This imperfection up to this point has been resolved. We are watching the performance of the company. If any developments occur, we will deal with that. For now, people are being paid, no less than 5 million people are being paid through this company. Why would you chase this company away? The point I'm making is that if a company can demonstrate that its system has got frequent problems that are not being resolved, that's a different issue. You've heard in your own company, they say systems are down. It happens everywhere. Will you close the company that has got systems that are down for a minute or two or for a day?
So
all we're saying, they are assessing their performance.
Okay.
If indeed we are not happy with them, we'll deal with that.
What about the accusations around cheap politicking?
Listen, a technical glitch which would occur in any system, you go to human rights, in one day it's resolved. Our view is that if you continue to be part of those who 5 days later, who continue to make noise about a problem which has been resolved within a day, the only gain you can have there is political.
But was it resolved within a day, Minister? Because even when you... No. There were people, hundreds of thousands of beneficiaries who were still without money, still, even yesterday.
There is no evidence of that. Let me just tell you now. The point of these hundreds of thousands of people were not post-bank people. We want to make this point. Anyone who's got a contrary evidence to that must bring that evidence. We've said to everyone who said there were thousands of people 5 days later, we said, bring those names to us because we're call center, we've got numbers. As I can tell you now, the queries, which are about 25, which came to our system, others were resolved with different banks, which is not post-bank. Other 13 are being processed with other banks. Other 7, the other number are people who claimed that they were not resolved. When it was tested, they were resolved. These thousands that people are speaking about, we've been calling them to give us evidence. It has been hype. It has been, I don't know how to call this thing. For instance, I'll give you an example. There are people indeed who still have problems with the payments, which some of them are in the post office. For instance, in the lands that they spoke about yesterday, it's a post office met. Mondli, which they were speaking about, it's a post office that was closed as early as February. People went to an institution which was not going to serve them. Anyway, the point we are trying to talk about here is the post bank. The problem we're confusing post bank with other outlets.
It still had a ripple effect, but perhaps let's leave it there for now. Thank you so much for your time, Communications Minister Mondli Gungubele.